such a beautiful animal, so calm and gentle.
As beautiful as these horses are, their prices are so hard to believe, some costing as much as 2 private jets put together. In this video, we're ranking these horses by their actual reported sale prices at the time they were bought. The number 3 horse 2-year-old who never won a race, but still cost a staggering $1 million. Number 2, a stallion syndication that hit million and changed the breeding game forever.
And it's Shareef Dancer. Walter Swinburne coming away. Shareef Dancer has won Kenny on his...
But you won't believe the most expensive horse ever sold was bought for $1 million and is still unmatched for over 24 years now. Ready to see how we got there? Let's get rolling. Number 15. Ashado. Coming in at 15, we've got Ashado, who sold for a whopping $9 million back in 2005. Now I know what you're thinking. $9 million for just a 4-legged animal? Yeah, that's how crazy this list gets. But here's why Ashado was worth every penny. This mare wasn't just a pretty horse heading to retirement. She was a 2-time Eclipse Award champion who had absolutely demolished the competition in both the Kentucky Oaks and Breeders' Cup Distaff. When you've got a horse with that kind of racing resume, then you're in for some serious money. Sheikh Mohammed's Darley operation knew exactly what they were getting. In the horse breeding world, proven champions like Ashado are like buying stock in Apple back in the 80s. You know it's definitely going to pay off. And guess what? It did. Ashado became a Hall of Famer and produced multiple winners. That $9 million investment was certainly the smartest money they ever spent. However, the $9 million wasn't prize money from racing, but a broodmare prospect price at a breeding stock sale. So yeah, sometimes the real money comes after the racing is over. And if you think $9 million is outrageous, then we're just getting us started. Number 14. Monomoy Girl. Meet Monomoy Girl, who commanded $9.5 million in 2020. Surprisingly, she was still racing when this sale happened. This muscular girl was no joke on the track. 7-time Grade 1 winner, a 2-time Breeders' Cup Distaff champion, and she is still adding more trophies to her resume. Watching her glide effortlessly on the track is simply breathtaking. Spendthrift Farm took one look and snatched her while she had the legs for running, rather than wait till she retired. Thinking about it, that was actually a genius move. They got to own her while she was still competing, let her add even more value to her name, then moved her to the breeding shed when she was ready. The sale happened at the auction block in Fasig Tipton's Night of the Stars sale, which is more like the Oscars of horse auctions. $9.5 million for a mare who was still proving her worth on the racetrack is simply horse trading at its finest. Number 13. Songbird. Don't let the name fool you. Songbird is another $9.5 million purchase from 2017 that gave other buyers a run for their money. You need no sorcerer to tell you this mare was something special. 2-time Eclipse champion and a 9-time Grade 1 winner. Songbird wasn't just a racehorse, she had everyone betting on her to smash every record possible. Everyone wanted a piece of her success. When Mandy Pope of Whisper Hill Farm started bidding, she knew she wasn't just buying a normal horse, she was buying a piece of racing history. Horses like Songbird don't come along very often, maybe once in a generation if you're lucky. The final price? $9.5 million. And that was the official hammer price. That's what the bidding stopped at, and that's what Pope paid. While expensive doesn't necessarily mean better or stronger, this one is definitely a proven champion and worth every single penny. Number 12. Jalil. Jalil isn't just a random horse you find on beaches and farmhouses. In fact, this yearling colt cost his buyers $9.7 million in 2005. Now, it will interest you more to know that this horse had never even raced yet. Jalil is what you'd call a blue blood, sired by Stormcat out of a Grade 1 winning mare named Tranquility Lake. On paper, this colt looked like he could be the next Kentucky Derby winner. Sheikh Mohammed took one look at that pedigree and immediately emptied his account on him. Almost $10 million for a horse that might be great. That's the yearling market for you. It's like investing in a startup, except this startup has 4 legs and eats hay. Did it pay off? Well, Jalil did win the Al Maktoum Challenge Round 3 in Dubai, so he wasn't a complete flop after all. But his overall racing record was pretty modest for a horse that cost nearly $10 million. That's the risk you take when you're buying dreams instead of proven performance. Still, in the breeding game, even modest racehorses can become successful sires if they've got the right bloodlines. Sometimes you get a stellar racehorse, and sometimes you get an overpriced lamb instead. Number 11. Havre de Grace. Some horses might be outrageously priced, but this beast, meet a true champion. Havre de Grace, who earned herself a $10 million price tag in 2012. And by earned, I mean it literally. She was the reigning Horse of the Year when she hit the auction block. Think about that for a second. The best racehorse in all of America was up for sale. Mandy Pope, who clearly has excellent taste in expensive mares and a deep pocket, of course, recognized that opportunities like this basically never come twice. Horse of the Year isn't just some participation trophy. It means she beat every other horse in the country, male or female, at every distance. When a horse with credentials like that becomes available, smart money spenders like Mandy Pope don't hesitate. The Fusaichi November sale was where it happened, and at $10 million, some people actually thought it was a steal. I mean, you're buying proven excellence at the highest level. Horses like Havre de Grace tend to produce horses like themselves, champions, and don't be surprised. We might be seeing some mini Havre de Grace soon. Number 10. Playful Act. Breaking into the top 10 is one powerful horse that has shattered record after record. Playful Act. This fierce mare was bought for $10,500,000 in 2007. Expensive, yes, but at the time it was a world record for a broodmare. Playful Act was a daughter of Sadler's Wells, and if you know anything about horse breeding, that name alone should make you want to sit up and pay attention. She had the racing credentials and the pedigree that Sheikh Mohammed's Darley operation dreamed about. So they splashed in the cash. But here's what made this sale historic. It proved that the breeding market had reached a completely new level. $10.5 million for a broodmare was uncharted territory. Darley's purchase wasn't just about getting one great mare. It was about sending a message that they would pay whatever it took to secure the finest breeding stock available. When you're building a breeding empire, you don't cut corners on the foundation. The world record tag wasn't just a marketing hype, it was literally true. No broodmare had ever sold for that much money at public auction. So yes, Playful Act had officially rewritten the rules of what elite breeding stock could be worth. Toast to that. Number 9. Snaafi Dancer. Let's take you back to 1983 to check out one of horse racing's most legendary disaster stories, Snaafi Dancer, who became the first yearling to break $10 million at $10.2 million. This colt was bred to be perfect. Northern Dancer bloodlines, incredible conformation, the whole package. When the bidding started at Keeneland, Buyers kept raising the bar to insane numbers, and by the time it ended, they had already made history. $10.2 million for a yearling was absolutely insane money in 1983. The auction house probably had to double-check its math. But Northern Dancer's sons were producing champions left and right, so bidders convinced themselves this was a sure thing. Well, it wasn't. Snaafi Dancer never raced. Not once. Fertility problems at stud meant he never produced any offspring either. He became horse racing's most expensive buy that never lived up to expectations. Seems like pedigree and price tags guarantee nothing after all. But hey, people kept buying expensive yearlings anyway, because when it works, it really works. $10,200,000 for a horse that never accomplished anything. That's one story that will still be told 100 years from now. Number 8. Totilas. Meet Totilas, a dressage horse who sold for a reported €9.5 million in 2010. Yes, euros. Now, if you've never watched dressage, this is more like a show where the horse pulls off the most elegant, precise horse dancing you've ever seen. Totilas wasn't just good at it. He was basically the Michael Jordan of dressage. This horse redefined what was possible in the sport. When court documents later confirmed that Paul Schockemüller had paid €9.5 million for Totilas, the equestrian world realized that dressage had joined the big leagues of expensive horse sales. What made Totilas worth that kind of cash? Well, he was a once-in-a-lifetime performer whose breeding potential promised to influence dressage for generations. In the sport horse world, horses like Totilas appear maybe once every few decades. Sadly, he died in December 2020 at age 9, just when the world was celebrating his legacy. The price proved that elite sport horses could also command racing-level money if they were exceptional enough. Talk about a legend in the making. Totilas had typically changed the way people saw the sport, and how much they've been leaving money on the table. Or should I say, horses on the table. Number 7. Meydan City. The bar keeps going higher, and the fee becomes even more outrageous. On number 7, Meydan City, a yearling that cost an insane $11.7 million in 2006. $11.7 for a horse that's barely a year old. This was Dubai money at its most ambitious stake. This King Mambo colt hit the market right when Dubai's racing investment was reaching crazy heights. Then Godolphin swooped in with a bag full of cash and bought the stallion. Buying a yearling at these numbers simply means you're betting that much money on potential, on what a horse might become, rather than what they've actually done. It's like buying lottery tickets, except each ticket costs more than a Lamborghini. Meydan City did manage to break his maiden at Newmarket, so at least he did win something. But his overall career remained pretty modest compared to that astronomical price tag. That's yearling buying in a nutshell. Sometimes you hit the jackpot, sometimes you don't. But for Godolphin, individual results mattered less than the overall strategy. They were building a racing empire, and you can't build empires without taking big swings. Number 6. Seattle Dancer. Meydan City might be a crazy buy, but this horse set the record for the most expensive yearling in the history of the universe. Meet Seattle Dancer sold for a record $13.1 million way back in 1985. You can already imagine how that bidding war went down. However, this breed was an absolute monster because it was a crossbreed of Nijinsky and My Charmer, who was Seattle Slew's dam. When pedigrees like these line up, the yearling sales start going over the roof. This wasn't just good breeding, this was holy grail breeding. The bidding war that pushed Seattle Dancer to 13 million reflected just how rare opportunities like this are. You had Northern Dancer influence through Nijinsky, plus the Seattle Slew connection promising speed and class. On paper, this colt looked unbeatable. Seattle Dancer actually turned out pretty well. He became a Grade 2 winner and developed into a useful sire. He may not have become the superstar that 13 million suggested, but he proved he had legitimate ability and breeding value. Now here's the thing about expensive yearlings. They don't all need to become Triple Crown winners to justify their price. Success at stud can validate purchases that racing careers alone might not support. Sometimes you're buying the next 20 years, not just the next 3. So yeah, 13.1 million in 1985 is some astronomical money compared to today's money value. But that's just how much yearlings could cost on a grand scale. All right, we've reached the top 5. Drum rolls, please. This is where things get even crazier. From here on out, every single sale rewrote the record books and left people wondering if there was any limit to how much people would pay for the right horse. Number 1 sounds almost impossible to believe, but the facts don't like either. Number 5. Better Than Honor. Better Than Honor might be a weird name for a horse, but her name says it all. This horse really was better than honor when it came to producing winners, and she was sold for $14 million in 2008. You might be wondering what made this mare worth $14 million. Well, she had already produced 2 Belmont Stakes winners. Jalil and Rags to Riches had both won the 3rd leg of the Triple Crown. In breeding horses, there's literally no higher credential than proven ability to produce classic winners. Most mares spend their entire breeding careers hoping to produce 1 stakes winner. Better Than Honor had already produced 2 Belmont Stakes winners, which is like lightning striking twice in the same spot. Southern equine stables knew exactly what they were getting when they cashed in on her. When Better Than Honor entered that Fossig-Tipton November sale, she stood out as the safest possible investment. You weren't gambling on potential. You were buying a proven champion producer whose track record spoke for itself. Southern Equine Stables made that outrageous bid to buy out its partnership with Hill and Dale farm owner John Sikura, which raised its ownership stake from 70% to 100% in an electrifying bidding performance that lasted just under 2 minutes. Obviously, the market values proven production over unlimited potential. Better Than Honor had eliminated all the risk that usually comes with breeding investments. No guesswork this time. In the business, that's about as close to a sure thing as you can get. Or maybe this next horse will prove us wrong. Number 4. Palubet de Halong. Let's step out of the racing scene for a second. Number 4 takes us back to show jumping, where Palubet de Halong was absolutely bossing it. And yes, he was sold for a reported fee of around 11 to 15 million euros in 2013 in 1985. When we talk of elite horses in their prime, Palubet makes the shortlist. We're talking about a gelding with top results in Nations Cup competitions and at CHIO Aachen, which is basically like the Olympics of show jumping. Exact figures usually stay confidential, but industry sources and reports give us reliable ranges that show just how much money changed hands. But he became the most expensive show-jumping horse in the world. You see, Palubet de Halong wasn't just a horse worth millions. He was known for his versatility and performance, which he had already proven in several show-jumping competitions. What more do you expect from a breed of the famous stallion Palubet du Rouet and the mare Indra Love? Besides that, He also looked the part with his chestnut coat, luxurious mane and tail, broad blaze, expressive head and eye, strong hindquarters and powerful legs. I bet you can already tell why he costs so much. Jan Tops, who bought him, wasn't just purchasing a horse that jumps over poles. He was investing in continued success at show jumping's highest level. Palubet de Halong later competed for Qatar, proving that the investment was about ongoing competitive advantage. This sale alone proved that elite sport horses could command prices that had previously been reserved for the most valuable thoroughbreds. So we can say that show jumping horses have officially joined the big boys. Number 3. The Green Monkey. The Green Monkey holds the bronze medal for most expensive horse ever sold, hitting $16 million in 2006. And you know the crazy part? He had never even raced yet. This was a 2-year-old in training whose entire value was based on one spectacular workout at Fasig Tipton's Calder sale and a pedigree that combined forestry with unbridled bloodlines. That's it. One good breeze and some nice breeding, and boom! Up for grabs at $16 million. To be honest, the workout was really incredible. Buyers saw raw speed that showed unlimited potential, the kind of natural ability that just might produce a champion. Demi O'Byrne, bidding for Coolmore, kept pushing the price higher and higher until the Green Monkey became the most expensive thoroughbred ever sold at public auction. $16 million for what could happen, not what had actually happened. Now here's where this story gets a little terrible. The Green Monkey never won a single race. Not one. Despite the perfect pedigree, despite that amazing workout, and the $16 million of investment, he never accomplished anything on the racetrack. He only raced 3 times in his life, all when he turned age 3, and finished 3rd once and 4th twice, earning just $10,240. After twice racing on dirt at Belmont Park, he made his final start on turf on November 21st, the same year at Hollywood Park. An even more shocking fact is that the farm of Randy Hartley and Dean DiRenzo purchased the Green Monkey as a yearling for $425,000, then sold him as a pinhook 7 months later for $16 million. Isn't this the craziest business deal of the century? To date, the Green Monkey holds the auction record for thoroughbreds, a price that no subsequent sale has even approached. In horse racing, anything can happen, and usually not what you expect. Number 2. Shareef Dancer. And here comes the runner-up for most expensive horse ever sold. Shareef Dancer, syndicated for a reported $40 million in 1983. The value of that in today's economy is somewhere around $100 million. But I gotta tell you, this one was different. Not an auction purchase, but a stallion syndication that valued him at levels nobody had ever imagined. This Irish Derby winner represented something completely new in the horse industry. When his racing career ended, breeders looked at the 45-year-old horse and knew his genetics alone were worth every penny. Everyone wanted a piece of him, probably because he was the son of the legendary Northern Dancer. But the horse was eventually bought by the Emir of Dubai, and yes, he later became a successful breeding stallion. Now, here's how the syndication process works. Investors buy shares in a stallion's breeding rights, betting that his offspring will be successful enough to justify the investment. 40 million suggested extraordinary confidence in Shareef Dancer's ability to sire champions. Did it work? Well, Shareef Dancer did sire stakes winners during his breeding career, so the investment wasn't a complete disaster. but $40 million suggested he might become one of the greatest sires in history, which didn't quite happen. The real significance of this syndication was what it established for the industry. $40 million simply showed that the breeding world was willing to invest a crazy amount of money that would have been unimaginable just a few years earlier. And this is certainly one for the history books. Number 1. Fusaichi Pegasus. And now, to the most expensive horse ever sold in documented history, Fusaichi Pegasus. Bought by Coolmore for a staggering $60 to $70 million after winning the 2000 Kentucky Derby. Let that number sink in for a minute. $70 million. Although this is a reported fee, this horse was on the front cover of every news making the headlines. When Fusaichi Pegasus won the Derby, his value went through the roof, and breeders weren't letting this one slide. After the bidding war, Coolmore had the highest bid and had Fusaichi Pegasus as the most expensive horse transaction ever documented. This also means that his owner, Fusao Sekiguchi, will not retain any ownership for breeding purposes. This one insane buy was more like investing in the future of an entire industry, betting that one stallion could influence thoroughbred breeding for the next few decades. Now, Fusaichi might have had a racing career that didn't match his jaw-dropping price, but that didn't matter, because he had a successful stud career, siring many winning offspring. You might be wondering what justified that kind of crazy investment. Well, Kentucky Derby winners have automatic commercial appeal. Fusaichi Pegasus's pedigree suggested he could pass racing ability to his offspring, and his Derby victory proved he had the class to compete at the highest level. So yeah, we can say that was fair enough. Here's the beautiful part. The investment actually worked. Fusaichi Pegasus sired multiple Grade 1 winners during his career at Ashford Stud, validating at least part of that record-breaking syndication price. His offspring included champions who proved the breeding theory was some serious business. Even after 20-plus years, no horse has come even close to matching his price. Well, there you have it. Who knew horses could be this good business? Some valued more than the net worth of your favorite Hollywood stars, while some were just overhyped and ended up being a bad investment. Anyways, let us know what you think. Which buy was the smartest investment? Drop your pick in the comments. I'd love to hear whether you're Team Proven Champions or Team Unlimited Potential. And hey, smash that subscribe button because we've got more incredible stories of some of the craziest money spending in the history of animal sport.